Welcome once again to Chelan County Connection. I'm your host, Randy Rhodes. Today, Logan Fifer. Logan, how are you?
Good, Randy. How you doing?
Hey, it's really great to meet you and make your acquaintance today.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you too.
So you're a snowplow driver for Chelan County, and you work out of the Chelan and Manson area. Before we get to any of that, Logan, a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background.
I wasn't born here, but I was raised here. I was born over in Idaho. Moved here when I was 5 and been here ever since, and just been growing up with the community and getting to know it and love it, and can't be raised in a better location, in my opinion.
Believe me, I totally get that. This is absolutely a desirable place to live.
Yes, it is. It's beautiful.
So, Logan, you're on the Chelan County Road Crew. You drive snowplow right now.
Yep.
What areas are you covering? I know it's Chelan and Manson primarily.
Yeah, Chelan Manson. Chelan has their own ordinance, so they have their own guys that take care of all the Chelan streets themselves. But the county roads are usually all the ones up in the mountains and anything further out north, like heading up to Pateris area. So everything out by the airport. And then we have some roads out of South Shore, which is all the roads out past Pat and Mike's, all the mountains out that way. And then, yeah, everything out in Manson's ours because there's no city ordinance out there. So we take care of all those downtown streets, all the alleys, all the mountains outside of there. Just a little bit of everything, really, other than Chelan itself.
Sure, of course. You've been at it 3 years with the county. How do you like it?
I love it. It's exactly what I needed to be doing. I'm a very high functioning ADHD person, and it was just right because we do a little bit of everything work wise. I mean, we're doing everything between working underneath the road to working on the road to working next to the roads. So it's just little bits, or even the trees over the roads as well. So
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of brushing as well. Yeah, and it's good for me. It keeps me busy.
So, Logan, this is your third season behind a snowplow. First of all, we know it's not an easy job. Does it have physical and mental demands on you?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely not easy. I mean, those first couple of years were there was a lot to learn. I mean, driving a truck is one thing. I mean, it's something that I always liked, but throwing in the whole sander and running a plow in front of your truck at the weights they are, yeah, it's a lot on the body and mind. But
Well, you had mentioned the truck, so give us a description of it. How big, and let's go into like how heavy is it? When it's fully loaded with de-icer and sand.
yeah. So our trucks primarily are the T800 series from Kenworth, and they usually come in just the truck and the bed by itself, like 26,000 pounds. Then you add a sander and the plow on the front of that, plus all the material that you put into the sander. I mean, you can weigh up to 30,000 pounds pretty easy. And then even then some, and it's one of those things that kind of weight on snow and ice can be a lot to handle.
So, a lot of people have asked, is there any salt in the mixture with the sand, or?
Yeah, so we usually do about, at least I try to make sure that we don't use too much salt because we don't want our roads to get too saturated with salt because we know it's hard on people's cars. It's hard on the road itself. It eats away at it faster. And the sand is, we don't get the kind of temperatures that salt would necessarily not be usable. So that's why we use it. We do the mixture so that way it does a little bit of both. It does de-icing, but we also get the traction with the sand.
Well, Logan Fifer, our guest on Chelan County Connection. Logan, this requires that you have what's known as a CDL. Explain that process and what the CDL is.
Yeah, so the CDL is a pretty important part of that. I mean, it's the only way you can get hired here, really. If you don't have one, it's not something you can just get lightly. It's a process. I got mine about 4 years ago, and between you have to collect a lot of hours of drive time but plus you also have to go get this thing called a commercial learner's permit, just like if you were getting a permit for just regular driving. And you have to do all the hours plus all the logs, and you have to learn everything on. It's not. I don't know if it's on a computer yet. Mine was in a classroom,
Hmm.
and on top of that, just this repetitive teaching and training, and depends on the school you go to as well. Mine was very. How do I put it? Very persistent with teaching us how to run these trucks. So they strived on safety, and it's a big part of them. I mean, that's a lot of weight that those things can run up to. So yeah, getting a commercial license it's a process, but it's a good process.
Say, Logan, kind of walk us through a day this time of the year for you. What time are you starting? What is your route?
Yeah, so we start our days at 5. Right now, we go to a winter shift so that we were getting usually climbing into our trucks at 5. We have them warming up when we first get to the shop, and we try and get going right at 5 so that way we can get ahead of the buses and just get ahead of everybody waking up. I know it's noisy and it sucks, but it's one of those things that if it's enough snow and you're hearing us plowing, then that's usually a sign that it's yeah, we're plowing, we're working, we're trying to stay ahead of it to make sure it's safe when everybody wakes up.
And then, as far as your route, is it pretty much the same route every day?
Yeah, so we try to make sure that I've actually jumped around all 3 years that I've worked here. I've done our north route, which is out by the airport. I've done our Boyd District route, which is all those hills and roads up in the Boyd District. And then my new route this year is the upper part of Manson. So it's all the hills up from Manson, but it's also a couple of the lower streets, like Green is where I meet with the other driver. And then everything
Mhm.
from Green up the hills is what I'm doing.
I think maybe I've seen you in that area about 5:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah, yeah, I don't doubt it. I try to be quiet, but it's one of those things. Metal against asphalt, it's noisy. But yeah, we got to do it nice and early.
So, Logan, anything that getting into this job that you found, especially challenging, or certain things you really picked up on quick?
It's tough because I feel like I fell into it really well, especially at a good time, and had some pretty good coworkers that helped me learn a lot of things quicker than what probably most would have to. And there's just a lot. There's a lot to remember, a lot to know, and but then at the same time, being able to be adaptive and being able to change things up quickly so we can keep efficient and make sure we stay on top of our plow routes and just making sure we keep everybody safe, making sure that if somebody's in need, we can be available if our routes are done, kind of thing. If you're stuck in a ditch when we're first taking off, I wouldn't take too much offense to it. We're just got to keep going where we're going. And if we see that you're okay, we're going to just probably keep on moving. So it's just,
And Logan, we live in a county full of narrow canyons, certainly high elevations, and you're out there in the very early morning hours, and sometimes during some even whiteout conditions. Anything about snow plowing that kind of surprised you when you first got started?
yeah. So again, I grew up in this area and I thought I knew how this place kind of worked with snow, but our elevation change from the lake level or even down all the way at the river up to some of the mountain ranges that we get to is drastic. I mean, we are experiencing it right now. You look up at our mountains and we have snow caps when we have nothing downtown. Like it's one of those things that we you might not see us working, but I can guarantee we might be pushing snow up in the mountains, and everybody living up there know it. So
And
it was a surprise.
Logan, a quick question for you: as citizens of Chelan County, are there any things that we can keep in mind to make your job, go a little bit smoother? Or
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, keeping wide, making sure that you give us plenty of room. Don't put yourself at risk, of course. But just making sure you don't get too close to us. If you see us coming up on you, try and get out of the way maybe. if it's just one of those things, we'll try to not get right on top of you. The sander can throw sand and salt really, really far, so you definitely don't want to get right on the back of the trucks. And then in downtown, just make sure that you get your like garbage cans after you're done with garbage day, get them back onto your driveway, out of the way and stuff like that.
Yeah. And, Logan, I just want to let you know that I, along with a lot of people I talk to, really appreciate what you do and what your crew does. Can you tell us a little bit about the crew you work with?
They're a bunch of hardy older guys. We have a couple younger guys my age. I'm the youngest at 27 here, and we got a good spread of guys now, and they've been doing it a while. Even some of these younger guys are picking it up. I mean, I got a couple guys below me that are doing just the same thing I'm doing because we have to. We're required to do our job, so it's a make or break kind of thing, sadly, but most of us make it.
All right. Well, Logan Fifer, our guest this time out on Chelan County Connection. Logan's a snowplow driver covering the Chelan outlying areas and the Manson areas for Chelan County. And it has been brought to my attention, Logan, by our director, Jill Fitzsimmons. You are a newlywed. Tell us about that real quick.
I am. Yeah, I got married back in September. Yeah, popped the question a whole year prior to that, and a year later we were getting married at Karma Canyon. If anybody knows where that is, it's a beautiful location, and married the love of my life. And now we've moved out to Manson. We finished our house build and got moved into that, and it's been good. We've been good.
Well, very excited and very happy for you. And based on the 2 months being a newlywed, are you, willing to put out any advice for young men and women that are heading toward the altar?
Yeah, listen to your fiancés, especially if you're coming up on when the wedding's coming in. Like it's a trying time. There was a lot more to it than I expected, and my wife and her mom took care of majority of it, and I can guarantee most fiancés will be doing that.
Well, I got to tell you, Logan, congrats. You're a great young man, off to a great career start with Chelan County. And I guess before I cut you loose, are there any final thoughts you would like us to know about before we let you go?
Thanks again. We appreciate everybody waving and saying hi and just acknowledging that we're there. We're supposed to look good in the public's eye, but at the same time, we do our best to make sure that we're not there too much because we don't want to hold up people's good times and stuff like that, especially in the summer. We don't want to be in the way of stuff like that. We know road work always sucks, waiting for our flags and stuff like that. It's a lot, but we appreciate it when you guys are friendly to us.
All right, Logan Fifer, thanks for your time. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, Randy.